And this one looks like a really fun one versus many tactical skirmish game where one player is going to be playing as superhuman rats that are trying to take over the city, and then the other players are going to be playing different groups of humans trying to push those rats back. For either side to win, all they have to do is be the first to score 4 victory points, and the rats are going to be doing this by destroying the humans. But then the humans have a couple ways to do this. They can either do this by destroying different dumpsters or by defeating those lead rats. Each human player is going to be controlling a party of 3 humans, each with their own health and special abilities. But then the rat player is going to be controlling 2 powerful lead rats that also have special abilities. Then they're also going to be controlling different smaller rats that they'll be able to spawn throughout the game. And these are going to be represented by these dice that you can see scattered out on the main board. And the board's going to have a whole bunch of different obstacles and buildings that can block the humans' paths, but then there's also different tunnels that players can use to navigate to different parts of the board quickly. And then there are the dumpsters, which the humans will be trying to destroy, but then they are also spawn points for those smaller rats. And one thing I really like about this game is that even though you're controlling 3 different humans, it's not as overwhelming as it sounds, because on your turn, you're only going to be able to choose one of those humans to activate. And once you've activated that human, you can't activate it again until you have activated the other 2. Each time you activate one of your humans, you're going to be able to perform 6 different actions. And there are 3 standard actions for moving, attacking, or performing a ranged attack. But then for each of those, there's going to be an associated unique action specific to that character, which is going to have a different variety of attack power or different abilities. But because each of those unique actions are associated with one of the basic actions, it means that if you're going to perform that action on your turn, you can only perform one or the other. But there are a few other basic actions that you can perform on your turn that aren't associated with any other actions, which means that you can just go ahead and spend an action point on your turn to perform them without limiting your other actions. And the first one allows you to move by activating one of your movement cards. And there are a bunch of different movement cards in the game, and each of them is going to have some sort of different pattern dictating where you can move relative to your current position. Another action you can perform is to search a dumpster, and whenever you do this, you're going to be finding different parts that you can use to build bombs, which you can then use in one of your other actions in order to blow up one of those dumpsters. But of course, with all these different characters performing all these actions individually, it probably means that you'll have to pull your parts together in order to build those bombs a little bit faster. So the final action you can perform is to perform a trade action with any character that is adjacent to your space. But your options don't stop there, because there are 2 more limited actions that you can perform, because in order to perform these actions, you're going to have to spend special cubes in order to activate them, and you're not always going to have those cubes available. And this is your ultimate ability action, which is going to perform a really powerful action. And the other one is the last stand action, which prevents you from going below 1 health for the entirety of that round. So if you're in a really bad situation and you think you're probably going to go down in that round, it might be worth sacrificing one of those cubes in order to perform that last stand action to make sure that you don't go completely to 0, even though you will be in a pretty vulnerable state from that point forward. And that's pretty much how a turn goes for an individual human player, but this is a 1 versus many game, which means that you are working with the other human players. And something that's really nice here is that you do have a lot of opportunity for teamwork, because there's no set order that players need to perform their actions, and they're all just performing them simultaneously. So if you want someone else to perform certain actions before you continue with yours, you can always work that out and try to work together the best you can in order to take out all those rats. But then we do get to the player's turn who's controlling the rats, and they will be able to move all those smaller rats around out on the board and even spawn more rats by different dumpsters. But then it's those 2 giant lead rats where things get really interesting, because they are a lot more powerful. They also come with their own special abilities, work very similar to how the humans work, but they do have a limited amount of actions that they can perform. But that rat player does have a lot more at their disposal with all those smaller rats scattered around on the board, so there is a lot of opportunity to be strategic here. The game continues like this, with the rat player and the human players alternating turns, and then the first player to get to 4 victory points wins the game. And of course, if you're interested in this one, I'll have links to their campaign in the description below.